Steve Bullock here, and I'm so glad to be joining you in supporting Montana conservation voters this evening.
Thank you, MCV.
Hey folks, Shane Morzo here.
Hello, fellow fans of MCV. It's a great honor to be with you today, friends, colleagues, and fellow advocates for our outdoor heritage.
Hey everybody, it's Rafe Graybill running for Attorney General. You know, it is so good to be here with you tonight. I wish we could meet in person. I have so many good memories of last year in Livingston. We had such a great event, and I really hope that next year we can get together in person as well. But this year is really important, and I want to talk to you about how important the work that MCV is doing and how your contributions make a big difference to this organization. Look, we all know that the threat to our public lands, to our environment, to conservation is real, and it's imminent in Montana right now. And it comes primarily from two sources. One, it comes from a federal government that is at best asleep, and at worst is actively working against us. And I can think of no better case in point than the case of William Perry Penley, that anti-public lands zealot who happens to administer America's public lands at the top of the BLM. Well, I'm proud to be lead counsel in a case suing William Perry Penley to get a federal judge to stop his tenure running America's public lands. And every step of the way in that case, it's been MCV that's by our side, MCV backing us up.
I'd like to give a big thank you to Murph and the entire gang at MCV for everything you do for our state. You know, as Montanans, we know one of our greatest responsibilities is to protect our public lands and provide clean air and clean water for future generations. I take that responsibility very seriously, and I know that Montana conservation voters does too. Montanans know climate change is happening. We can see it in front of our very own eyes. Increasing wildfires, shrinking glaciers, and shorter harvest seasons are wreaking havoc on our outdoor way of life. And when it comes to climate change, Montanans can either lead or we can follow. I choose to lead, and as your governor, I'll do everything I can to make sure our outdoor heritage is protected and left in better shape for generations to come.
Hey folks, Bryce Bennett here, your MCV endorsed candidate for Secretary of State. It is an honor to have the endorsement of Montana conservation voters because it means a lot more than a few words on a campaign flyer. It lets Montanans know your values. It tells them that you'll fight for clean air and clean water. It tells them that you'll defend access to our public lands. It tells them that you'll protect our favorite places to hike, hunt, fish, and explore, not just today, but for generations to come. I'm in this race to ensure that every eligible Montana voter can cast a ballot and have their voice heard and restore leadership to Montana's land board.
MCV is an essential partner in the fight to protect our state's incredible public lands, a fight that I know is near and dear to the hearts of everyone on this call.
And you know what's great? Every one of us own these public lands.
The work that MCV does is crucial to making sure that up and down the ballot, we're electing advocates for Montana's wild places who won't stand for attempts to strip protections or sell off these natural treasures to the highest bidder. In partnership with MCV, we are finally able to secure permanent funding for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Some folks, like Senator Daines, hopped on the LWCF bandwagon in election year just to try to hide their terrible record on public lands from Montana voters. But unlike these folks, MCV's been there with us in this fight every single step of the way. And they're showing up to the fight again as we take on public land enemies like William Perry Penley at the Bureau of Land Management. Washington, D.C. politicians aren't going to stop attacking our natural heritage, but I won't ever stop protecting Montana's rivers, streams, and lands. And I'm thankful to know that I can rely on folks like MCV as we push back and fight to protect public access and preserve Montana's public lands through efforts like the Blackfoot Clearwater Stewardship Act, which my opponent does not support. We also need to address the challenge of climate change by securing investments in strategies like renewable energy development. During my time as governor, installed solar capacity in Montana has quadrupled. Wind generation has doubled, and we have the same amount in the pipeline.
These last few months have really shown us how fortunate we are to live somewhere that allows us to escape the hustle and bustle of life or the stress of being cooped up in the house for way too long. We're fortunate, but we're not lucky. We have MCV looking out for all of us. It's MCV that's doing the tiresome, thankless, and often overlooked work of protecting our beautiful state, now more than ever. We need advocates working to protect our public lands for generations to come and fighting for access for all Montanans.
I'm proud to have a 100% rating with Montana conservation voters, and I'm proud to be endorsed by MCV. It's critically important that we continue to support MCV moving forward because they actually hold elected officials accountable when it comes to protecting public lands and protecting our right to vote.
Thanks to the work of MCV, I know we're going to elect amazing candidates up and down the ballot and keep Montana the last best place. But MCV can't do it alone. They need the money to compete with out-of-state interests that would try to take our way of life and put it in the hands of the wealthy few. Thank you for your generosity tonight in supporting this important organization, and thank you to MCV for all of their great work.
I'll now keep leading the charge for you when I'm in the governor's office. We can't trust Greg Gianforte to protect our state's greatest resources. As governor, I'll be committed to working with Montana conservation voters to stand up for our clean air, our clean water, and our great outdoors. I'll bring people together to tackle the threat of climate change, and I'll stand up to special interests seeking to sell off our public lands to the highest bidder.
I'm so glad to be in this fight with MCV and all of you. Now, with a handful of days left until Election Day, we need each and every one of you to step up again. With your help, we can win back the land board and protect the things that make Montana special.
Working together, we will secure a cleaner, better future for our children and for our grandchildren.
Look, I'm a new dad. I have a 17-month-old daughter, and I think about the spot in the Little Belt Mountains where my dad taught me to fish, where his dad taught him. And I think about teaching my daughter to fish there too. Well, we're one election away from that not being able to happen. I'm running against one of the most extreme anti-public lands advocates in the history of Montana. The stakes of this race are real, and the work of organizations like MCV makes a real difference in fighting for, preserving, and protecting the Montana that we all care about. So I'm asking you tonight to dig deep, to do what you can, to give till it hurts, to make sure that MCV continues their good work protecting that which we all care about in our state.
As your senator, I'll keep working to expand renewable energy, to create the jobs of the future, and truly tackle climate change side by side with MCV. Thanks again for having me. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you for your work.
Be safe, be well, and enjoy this great celebration.
Let's get this done.
And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care and good night.